Yes. Okay, good morning to everybody. I have to say that Ilde Rizzo, who was the chair of this session, cannot be here because of a family problem. And then she cannot connect in this very moment. And I will chair the session, and I will read at the end the short words she had sent to us to tribute our colleague, Mr. Fernandez. Then, as we have a short time for the section, I give the floor to my colleague, Juan Prieto.
Thank you, Luis, and thank you to anyone attending this, this session. This is the speech that I would have preferred never to give. I have worked with Victor, but also thanks to Victor in the field of economics, of culture and arts for more than 25 years. I am who I am in the academy thanks to many colleagues that helped me to make my own way, but especially to Victor. After defending his doctoral thesis on economic thought, he began to teach this subject at the Faculty of Economics in Oviedo, where I was fortunate to meet him for the first time as my professor, since he taught me that subject. Victor was a very good teacher, probably the best I had at the faculty in my undergraduate courses. He had a perfect use of the tempo, the irony, and the perfect use of Spanish. He was brilliant. His classes were a pleasure. And once he specialized in the economics of culture, he was invited to give classes and seminars in master degrees and postgraduate courses in many different universities in Spain. And he always became a visiting professor for the next following editions because he was, as I said, brilliant. He was impossible to find anyone better than him to explain in a rigorous way, but also in a very pleasant and enjoyable way, concept as the Baumol-Scott disease, or what a good of experience is. I met Victor again when I applied for the lowest possible contract at the Spanish university at that time. And he was part of the commission that decided to hire me for the Department of Economics at the Oviedo University. The contract was a kind of teaching assistant with the obligation of working on my doctoral dissertation. The proof that he was a very good professional, but not perfect, is that he decided to offer me the contract. No, probably that was a big mistake, I don't know. So I became his fellow at the department, but I was working in a completely different subject. I was doing my PhD on labor economics. He was just 4 years older than me. And when I started working at the economic department, I was 22, and Victor was my colleague, but also became a kind of the older brother that I never had. I was still working on my doctoral thesis when Victor asked me if I would mind working with him using some questions about the use of time that marginally appeared at the end of the labor market database, in which I was desperately trying to figure out the degree of employment discrimination in Spain at that time. So I said yes. That was probably the best decision I took in my whole career. And Victor started to be my co-author. His office was just in front of mine, and I have spent almost as many hours there than in my own room. His office was oriented to the south and mine to the north. And therefore, any sun made his office a better place not to be in winter and mine in summer. So we were a kind of nomads working more often at his room during the cold seasons, moving to mine during the warm ones. So we did more writing in winter and more econometrics in the summer. But the system worked, and we wrote more than 20 papers together, mainly on cultural economics. My co-author ended to be my friend. We were so close that we didn't mind to share the hotel room when attended a conference and the university allowance was too small. And we have no financial help to attend that conference. As in the finalist scene of Blade Runners, we were in places you would not believe. We were in very, very cheap hotel rooms, and we became very close friends. But his door was always open, not just for me, to anyone. He was, he was always ready to help to anyone with a wise advice, but he also was ready for a good talk on music, literature, football, and overall cinema. Regarding essay and cultural economics, he has been a member of essay for more than 25 years. And he was the first Spaniard to manage to publish at the Journal of Cultural Economics back in 1997, obviously on cinema. He was being a member of this journal board, the editorial board, for almost 15 years. No, he has been a member since 2008. But especially he was the first professor at the Spanish university system that realized that cultural economics was a field that deserved attention. Victor was the perfect gentleman, considered, kind, and generous. He's a huge loss to his family and friends, to my department, to my university, and also to all the Spanish and Latin American cultural economics group. The world is clearly a worse place without him. It is very hard to me to say goodbye to Victor, but I'm happy to have been able to share my time with him. He helped many to do the research on cultural economics, and I'm among those privileged. As many others, I was also aware with his kindness and friendship. Thank you very much. Thank you, Victor.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you very much. I don't have too many things to say after the words of Juan, but I maybe would like to expand a bit more some concepts as regards friendship, especially friendship. When we both prepared in the introduction of the tribute book, we decided to write this introduction around three ideas of what Victor represents. Economics as a way of understanding the world, culture as a sensitive to beauty and to the talent, and friendship as a frame of mind. Indeed, Victor was a great economist, an expert on movies with a lot of feedback with his own research, and especially a great colleague and a close friend. What does friendship mean? What is this concept? It is a relation of affection. It is a form of collective cooperation. Thanks to Victor, I think I understood it. It is really a sort of well-being. It is a situation of calm and tranquility that confidence and trust in each other give rise to people who share these feelings. It is a kind of privilege that we have with few people and that we had with Victor. It is certain that this kind of feeling should start with a previous condition, the quality of empathy. And we are able to recognize that Victor had that lucky quality of transmitting kindness. It was a good man, a persona per bene, that which Ilde told me very recently. And he had also a very witty sense of humor. However, this is just a necessary condition, and I would like to highlight another quality, which refers to the notion of a kind of Aristotelian ethic as regards the value of friendship, where happiness lies not so much with the individual improvements, but especially with benefiting others, with it set on the welfare of their friends. This is just a definition of generosity, which is what Victor really had. Many of Victor's disciples and young researchers will have noticed, will have enjoyed, will have appreciated this quality of Victor because he was always available for to lend his experience, to advise, to give an advice, to have a good conversation. And it was the same with his peers and colleagues. I must confess that Victor has been one of the guiding lights, if not one of the main assets in the emergence and consolidation of the cultural economics as a field of study in Spain. We are now in an atmosphere of a scientific association. And then I would like also to bring to the fore a complementary version of this notion, which deals with its role as resource of scientific production. We live certainly in a world that's the one of the university, which is full of trials, tribulations, obstacles, goals to be accomplished. Everything is measured through its impact, its relevance, its visibility. And in this world, the logic of competition prevails. Competitiveness is taken therefore as a filter of scientific quality, as a driver of the progress of the knowledge. However, I would like to retrieve here the idea that friendship could also be an stimulus. Friendship is a factor of scientific accumulation. Friendship not only offers the possibility of research cooperation, but also creates an atmosphere where individual achievements represent a motivation for the whole. It favors efforts of emulation. It gives rise to complementary innovations. Friendship excludes opportunistic behaviors, and that constitutes a stronger driver for scientific reinforcement of the group. I think that I'm not exaggerating, but I agree with most of my colleagues in cultural economics in Spain that this group share in part these characteristics, and that Victor has played a binding and generous role in making this happen. It has been a group, first of all, that was passionate about the study area. It was a group that in the times of the youth without limits, they tried to extend and to consolidate this discipline, or at least to rescue it from the impression of being just a frivolous hobby. We were called the happy few for some outstanding professor in the early 2000s. However, we can say that now we are no longer so few, and that we have been incorporating new academics, new young researchers who have the same enthusiasm and determination in this line of research. As a sign of this enthusiasm, I can show the book. This is a sign of our group, of our enthusiasm in this subject. It is made up with young researchers, and not too young, who have had a close collaboration with Victor. And with this, we wish to show the idea of continuity. Several academics with an illustrious scientific career has also joined to this tribute. At this point, I would like, first of all, to sincerely thanks to the authors and the referees for their contribution to this book. I also wish to thank all of those who answered to our call of adhesion and would like to join in this tribute, and they appear in the tabula gratulatoria of the book. We have received very affectionate message from them. And I also would like to thank the University of Oviedo for granting this publication. I must say that Victor actually got to see this book, the proof prints of this book, and he has moved a lot to see how it has been put together and the tremendous reception it received. I know that he showed the book to his friend and his families when visits, and he was very proud of it. Friendship, experience, curiosity, and continuity are guiding threads that run through this book, to which I must add the words of honesty and elegance, two qualities that Victor had in abundance. We have learned a lot of these characteristics of our friend and colleagues. These are his major legacy, and I'm sure that we will all treasure them and him as a reference of our friend. I would like to thank also Trine and Browning for giving us this short space for tribute, and also to thank Elena Suarez, who helped us to make the video that we are going to show in this moment. Thank you. Please, could you play the video? Thank you to everybody who has lived and enjoyed the life of Victor. I will just to finish with a short words from Ilde Rizzo. Dear all, I really thanks Luis and Juan for having asked me to contribute to the book in honor of Victor and to chair this tribute session. Even in the very short time available, Luis and Juan have offered from different perspectives intense, profound and effective words about Victor, colleague, friend, and economist. I will not go over these aspects because I certainly could not do better. Let me just say that the introduction of the book, Economía, Cultura y Amistad, perfectly represents Victor's legacy to the academic world. He has contributed to build up through time a group of people where friendship, sincere human relationships, and sense of belonging are as much important as scientific excellence, and rare example of what academia should be, and I'm afraid does not seem very common today. I would like to close this session with two brief memories: the relationship of Victor with young people and with cinema. Victor's relationship with young people was open and friendly, and at the same time authoritative and supportive. In other words, he was a master, as he had the opportunity to appreciate in the organization of the Young Researcher Workshop in Valladolid in 2016. He has clearly a point of reference for the participant, providing through comments and encouraging suggestions. The book itself offers clear evidence of the important role played by Victor with his many students, today brilliant young scholars. A more personal memory refers to Victor as a cinephile and cinema goer. Every time we met at conference, it was a very pleasant habit to talk about the latest films seen and exchange our views. His were intelligent and acute, the result of a deep and varied culture, revering curiosity and willingness to approach new film languages. I think the best way to conclude is quote from Nomadland's, a beautiful film which I'm sure Victor would have loved. What's remembered lives. And we will not stop remembering Victor. Thank you. Thank you to all. Thank you also to the family of Victor who was watching this, or attending this session. And thank you to all. I close the session.